So please let us know if you're having problems hearing, seeing, and do those in the chat. And our administrator, Christine, she will respond to you and be monitoring the chat as we're reviewing these other things. So, like I said, I had a question this week regarding bonuses and taking out net checks and so forth. So setting up a bonus pay type and going through the process of creating a bonus check gives me the opportunity to try some other options that are available when doing something that's not a standard paycheck. So what I'm going to do is jump into my PCA convert company, and I'm going to go into setup. I'm going to go into pay types, and we're going to create a new pay type. And this new pay type we're going to call bonus. And that's what you could put on the check stub. Oops, sorry. And whatever default expense account you use for your payroll, you would go ahead and just use one of those salaries. So because it's still going to be considered a wage on the W-2, and that's why we're going to go through this, because we're going to go through that net to gross that you can calculate, because most people, when they do this, they want to do it when the net check is $100, $500. And so I have a spreadsheet that we'll use that I've uploaded to the customer portal that will show you how that can work here. So we're weekly in here. If you set up your bonus pay type, just use the same frequency that you use for your normal payroll, and it's still taxable pay, and it will appear, as I mentioned, on the W-2. Now, what most do is they don't withhold federal or state withholding, but you do have to withhold the Social Security and Medicare. And so we'll go through there. And so now I got the pay type set up. I would suggest going to your template, and in our particular example, we use the hourly paid weekly. And so we're going to go into pay, and you can see we only have this so far. So we're going to click new. We're going to click the new bonus pay type, and we're going to add, and yes, it's taxable. So we're going to make sure that it's enabled. We didn't leave the default wage at 0. And once we do this, what you can do is then you go pull up add to existing employee. And so we're just going to select our hourlies. And so now that's been added to each of their pay types. So if you were to go into any particular employee and pull up Julie, you'll see that the bonus is now part of the pay types that are available. So what I suggest doing, we've done a little bit, and again, this is practice using these pay groups. When you typically we run everything through weekly payrolls, but we're going to leave that alone so that our normally weekly list is there, and we say no, we're excluding this, and what we're going to do is say yes to the one-time adjustments. And for my purposes, I just made the pay period all 12/24. You make it 12/25, and again we included make sure this is the same. Now the other thing that we typically do on a bonus check is if there's any deductions, we don't normally have the deductions on there. So one of the features in our options tab is don't to include deductions. I'll just select all, and click done. And if you have benefits set up, I don't want to use those either. And if you're on direct deposit, but a lot of times, even if for your employees that are on direct deposit, if you start using this feature from a Christmas bonus kind of thing, quite often they like to have a regular check cut out to maybe put in a Christmas card or that type of thing. So if that falls into yours, then you would also click on this one so that it actually creates a check instead of creating the direct deposit. And you may want to shut the automatic pay period off on this in case you're going to do them in multiple pay runs. So having done that, I shut that off here for my purposes because I don't want to change the dates that I've created here. So I'm going to be as a next pay run. And so we have this set to yes. We go into enter pay data. So we're going to go up to here. We're going to select Julie. We're going to select the pay type bonus. We're just going to put in a 1 here. And so what is the gross? Let's say we want to give her a $200 bonus. So I'm going to tab to the spreadsheet. And just FYI, I have uploaded this spreadsheet to the customer portal. And so if you go on to the customer portal on your account, you should see this bonus calculation net to gross spreadsheet. So that's the spreadsheet I'm using. You can go on and download it and use it yourself. I've also uploaded a records retention schedule that some people have been asking, how long should I keep certain records? And it lists a variety of things. And we can maybe take a look at that here later. But there's where the spreadsheet is. And it's a very simple, basic spreadsheet. Oops. So when you open up the spreadsheet, if you want the net bonus to be $100, then the gross needs to be $108.28. So for us, for Julie, we want it to be $200. So we're going to make the gross $216.57. So we'll go back to our entry, which one is it on? And sorry, it was 216.57. So we just put in 216.57. So that's the gross for her. So maybe for Lisa, on her bonus, we're going to give her a $500 bonus. And so for the $500 bonus, it's $541.42. At 41.42. And so for Carrie bonus, and let's do a different figure so you can see one that's not listed here. Let's say she's going to get a $250 bonus. So all these boxes with dashes have the formula in there. So if you want the bonus to be $250, then you would just fill in that amount here. And so $270.71. So those are the 3 different bonuses. And so you would go ahead and calculate. It's reminding us that we're disabling the deductions and benefits, so it doesn't take anything out. And then if you look at the calc report, it is going to go ahead and calculate, for some anyway, the federal and state. If you have state, we don't have state in this one, but typically you're going to want to zero them out. And so what we would do is we go into edit results, and for we don't need to do anything there. Her amount is already a net of $200, so we're good there. For Lisa, federal calculated at that, we would just zero that out. And so for her, it rounded to 250. There must be a rounding issue going on here. What we could probably do is if we take out, change that to a 6, it'll autocorrect. Oops. So you can do some edits so that the net comes out to what you're wanting it to be. And for her, we would just go ahead and remove. I don't know, why is it? So hers is now $250. And we can, at this time, go back and look at the calc report again. And we can confirm that the net check here is 200, the net check here is 500, and the net check here is $250. Now, if you're planning to do a real large bonus, and I'm just going to use it as an example, I'm going to recalculate, and I'm going to go up and we will pull up the spreadsheet, and I'm going to say it's a $5,000 bonus. Now there you get into it. It's a fair amount. We're calculating weekly, and so it's going to create a very large federal withholding. And so I'm going to use the 541419. Oops, I went to the wrong one. Go to 5414. What was it? 14? 19. And click done. We'll click calculate. Get the warning. And what you can see for the, because it was on weekly and it's calculating, it calculates a fairly large amount. And so if you're going to do something like this, you might want to talk to your tax advisor or your accountant on how this should be handled. I mean, if you want to give them a bigger bonus and pay part of that, I mean, you can. Let's just go back in here, and let's say you. So, if we zeroed out this amount, it's going to make the net check the $5,000 we want. But if you wanted to quote kind of pay for part of the withholding, you could always increase whatever federal amount on the gross so that it still nets out to the $5,000. You'll want to consult with your accountant too with any bonuses that are that large. But you can see from how we have done this, it will, we zeroed everything out. So our net checks are what our Christmas bonus is. And so then we can, from there, go ahead and create the computer check. And again, if you want to enclose it in an envelope, Christmas card, that type of thing, that's totally up to you. But anyway, I thought it was a timely thing. Some people had asked about it. And so this is how it would be handled, but it also introduced some of the features that you're not going to use on a day-to-day basis, such as I don't want any deductions, I don't want any benefit, I just want to cut a check for a net amount using that net to gross spreadsheet. So hopefully you found that. And so there's a question, do garnishments, child support still have to be taken from bonus checks? That I don't know. I mean, those are court mandated one as far as child support. Again, that would be something you'd want to confer with your accountant or tax advisor if you're in a situation like that. If you do have to take someone out, what you can do is, let's say it's a garnishment, we could still take that out If you did it that way, let's just go back to here. If you were to, well, I guess I did it. I already created the checks. You theoretically, if whatever that garnishment is, you could add it to the gross so that the net check could still come out. Change the gross to the amount of the garnishment, adding the garnishment into that. So if you go back to the spreadsheet, you know, if it was $200, you would add whatever the garnishment is, you would add it to this, and then so that the net check would still end up with being $200. But I would talk to your accountant and tax advisor. That's really getting above my pay grade, interpreting the laws regarding that, because you know, you're getting involved with the court orders and IRS, and there may be some things that should be done, and I would want the your local accountant or tax advisor to take care of that. Any other questions that come up in regards to that? And feel free to put them in the chat or unmute yourself and say, hey, I got a question, and we can work from there. So otherwise, hopefully you'll find that helpful. I didn't know if we wanted to review the customer deposits like we did last time, but otherwise, we've had this list that gone out. We've covered most of these over the course of the past 8 weeks in terms of pay types, and we just kind of backtrack on there for the special bonus pay type. And we've reviewed through the vacation sick pay approach and subtracting hours and so forth. We revisited today, adding that bonus pay type to the employee template. And then that would also be added to any new employee that you have. We've gone through the direct deposit in the past 8 weeks. We've gone through some of the reports. We have reviewed, I believe, all these categories over the past 8 weeks. Same for modifying chart of accounts, setting up budgets, creating a journal entry, setting up a new customer if you're using receivables. So if we don't have anything else on that that's of interest, or if there's anything, like I said, we've covered in the past you would like to be covered again, then speak up. Otherwise, as I mentioned earlier, this will be the last class. Next week, there's a couple of different topics. We'll announce at the beginning of the week what the webinar is going to be. That will be opened up to all of you, but it will also be opened up to others. And a lot of it is in the next month is going to deal with year end. You know, we'll have a session later in December with actually going through the W-2 and 1099 creation process. We'll have one of our sessions is we're moving our cloud to a new server, and we'll be announcing and releasing that in one of the Thursday classes, showing you if you wanted to move your desktop version to the cloud, you'll see how it looks and operates on the cloud. And some year-end tasks. We'll be probably covering that probably on the December 28th. We'll be kind of reviewing everything that you may want to do. The tax update for 2024 will be available, and you'll be able to install that. You're a group that's going to get both tax updates, both for your classic and for the new PCA desktop. You'll want the classic one if you decide you would rather do your W-2s through classic. But if you have given us a backup at the end of the month after your last payroll for 2023, you'll actually be able to use the new version to process your W-2s. But there's other things that the tax update doesn't cover, mainly your state unemployment rate, and that varies. And so one of your tasks before you do your first payroll which you've been having to do in your classic program, is to go in and update your rate for your state unemployment. Or if you have local taxes in your jurisdiction and they change, you'll need to manually go in to change those. And we'll cover that, like I said, on the probably the last session of the month, when it's right before you're going to be doing your first payroll in 2024. So otherwise, it was a rather short class. If you don't have any questions, I'm going to go ahead and close the session. And I've been in touch with a lot of you one-on-one, and I plan to be in touch with you again. There was discovered here, and one of you, I think most of you are planning to convert for a second time, but there was a little glitch in the converting the cleared transaction dates of some of the bank recs in Classic. And so that's been resolved. And so your bank rec should work much better. Okay, Melissa, I'll put you on my list to follow up. And I'll do a follow-up email and let you know when I call. I got a couple other things that are planned right after this class. Otherwise, if there are any other questions or anything else I want to cover, I'll speak now. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and stop our recording. And I will wish you a Merry Christmas, but probably we'll see you on these webinars. You'll automatically be registered for them when we release the announcement of what webinars are going to be handled on which date. But they all are going to be on Thursday at 1 o'clock Central, 2 p.m. Eastern, just like these class sessions have been. So hope to talk to you soon.